Shine and A, we're talking about the ICAN workshop, parenting workshop. Of course, they are in collaboration with UNICEF and the Children's Authority. And to speak with us this morning, to tell us all about it, of course, you would have been familiar with some of the details, but we're going deeper into the conversation today and having the conversation with Dara Healy. And she's the founder of ICAN, and she's live with us here on Rise and Shine. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. And you're doing well?
Yeah, I am, and I hope you are as well. And good morning to all your viewers and listeners.
Nice. So ICAN, I mean, you see the brand and you see the abbreviation throughout different activities, but just to refresh some of our viewers, just tell us about the inception, because I mean, being the founder, you would have conceptualized and been inspired to take on this project, I would say, because I mean, it's a project. But just tell us about the establishment of the company.
So ICAN is an NGO, and the full name is the Ida Marie Guerra Indigenous Creative Arts Network. Ida Marie Guerra is my grandmother, and she inspires our family in a lot of ways because of her commitment to hard work, community, honesty, and strong values. And so those are infused throughout ICAN and the work that we do. So we were founded in 2012, and the idea was that we would reach out to vulnerable populations, people who need support in terms of dealing with difficult issues, whether it's peer pressure, gender-based violence, anger management, that kind of thing, through culture and the arts. So the idea is that we are not preaching or we're not being didactic towards people, but we are engaging them in a conversation, and we're using the arts as a catalyst for discussion and for opening up so that you could get the help you need and so that you could get the resources that are there for you.
UNICEF and the Children's Authority, just give me an idea in terms of what exactly their collaboration entails in collaboration with ICAN.
Okay, so we are here in Tobago for 3 days as part of a campaign that is being spearheaded by UNICEF and the Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. And the idea is to increase awareness about the neglect of children and to share that message to parents, to guardians, and to extended families. So we say we invite aunties, uncles, grannies, grandpas, everyone to come and be part of the conversation. So that's what we're doing here.
Okay, and exactly where these conversations would be held?
Okay, so today is actually the last day. So we were in Moriah on Tuesday, and we were in Buko yesterday, and today we're going to the Bell Garden multipurpose facility, and that will service the communities in that area.
What is the approach? Is it that any parent come in and they have a one-on-one session with some of the experts? Give us a glimpse into how exactly the format would happen today.
Right, perfect. So the idea is that we don't want this to be a sit-down, boring kind of lecture type of scenario. So it's meant to be engaging, interactive, and also fun. Part of the challenge that we see in our communities is that both adults and children seem to have forgotten how to have fun. And
right?
Yeah, play, we have almost eliminated play from children's lives in a lot of ways because they have a lot of responsibilities, and parents, we know about the responsibilities. So you come in, you register, and we have games for grown-ups. We also have an area where the children can go, they can paint, they can draw, they have games, and we do on the floor a game called Moral. I think you played it.
Yeah, I know about Moral,
yeah. Right, so we have that game, and you can play Moral, so it's about kind of opening up people's spirits a little bit so that you can receive what we have to offer. And then you go ahead.
So, I mean, and I'm listening to you, but I want to get from you first and the core principles that ICAN would take in terms of approaching parenting. Because, I mean, we had a conversation recently this week with a pastor, and he basically was saying that there's a desperate need for a parenting convention across the board. What are some of the core principles that ICAN would adapt and employ when dealing with parents and particularly in our current situation?
Well, a key value of ours is community. and respect for community. So that the idea is that we do not talk at people, but we invite people so that we can listen. And so as part of the conversation, we have a dramatic presentation. So that's the work that we do. We are culturally based and founded in our technique and our approach to finding solutions to challenging situations. So there's a dramatic presentation. I've written 2 plays, one for Tobago and one for Trinidad. They're very short, just about 10 minutes.
Right.
But inside of there are all of the issues and all of the challenges that we face in Trinidad and in Tobago, in terms of whether it might be suicide ideation, young people getting into gang culture, the dangers of leaving children alone at home, expecting them to look after younger children. There's a term that I learned recently called parentification, which means where children are basically expected to function as parents. So ICAN, the way that we operate is that we would incorporate the drama, theatre, movement, folk arts, and so on, and we would use that as a means of beginning the conversation.
So when you look at the Caribbean, and of course we could look at our unique scenario, you would see a lot of families that would adopt the spare the rod way of parenting. All right, but then when you juxtapose that with some of the other territories who would employ more modern ways of disciplining and just parenting on the whole, how do ICAN take into consideration our culture and the way how our parents would raise us and discipline us, but still incorporating some, I treading lightly with using the word modern techniques, but techniques that goes with the time that we're living in right now. Tell us, how do you take that into consideration, and what is the advice?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So a lot of the practices that we have are actually culturally embedded. And so we have seen our parents, grandparents, and other generations do things in a particular way, discipline children in a particular way. But what we recognize is that while they were well-meaning, they were not always successful in achieving the goals. And so the new way of parenting is more of a process where and it's a multi-pronged process as well, where you look at, instead of going immediately for violence, what about dialogue, what about conversation? One of the flaws that I think that we have is children must be seen and not heard. There's big people business, don't ask me nothing. And so the way we speak to children, and young people, we need to address that. And so that is one of the ways of opening up dialogue, the way we discipline as well. In previous, when we did our first outreach in Trinidad, the parents who were there talked about the need for more family time. Yeah, so, and also technology is with us. So we should not be afraid of it, but flip it on its head and use it in a positive way. So how can we manage use of technology, the time that we use it? How can we reintroduce story time at bedtime? Family time at the table, eating together, that kind of thing. So it is not, a change is not going to happen immediately, but it is part of a holistic approach towards family and towards raising children in a particular kind of way.
And just for clarity, the name of this program is the ICAN Parenting Workshop?
Well, the workshops, they're parenting workshops, and they're spearheaded by the Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago and UNICEF in collaboration with us, ICAN.
All right, and I understand that we can show you some footage, and if you're looking on television or on Facebook, you would see some. I guess this is part of the dramatization of the parenting technique. Tell us what we're looking at right now.
All right, so this is from the Tobago play, and we've set it within the context of the Tobago wedding, and we have used that and placed it in the community of Moriah, where we look at the experiences of the different people in the story. So you would have the main character, who's the single mummy, who's under a lot of stress. I think that was the first picture that came up. You have her daughter, who is taking part in the Tobago wedding. She left home to go to Trinidad to study and so on. Mummy has 3 children. The eldest boy, who is 17. This lady on the screen is Miss Eunice. She's the village seamstress. And they used to be close, but then something happened. This is the gentleman in red is a close friend of hers, and the young man sitting is her son. And her son has gotten into the gang life, and so we weave a story around how do we find redemption in a situation like that. What are the stressors that parents face? The mother in this scenario feels very alone. She feels abandoned by her friend, Miss Eunice. She feels abandoned also by her close friend, who she thought they might have been able to get together. So she does not feel that there are any avenues for support. And one of the issues that we discuss in the workshop setting is, what are those resources?
Right.
Yeah. So we have social services who are there, TTPS. We had from the Tobago Regional Health Authority, and so we have other services so that people can understand where you can go for help.
And get the support. In terms of evaluating the transformation, how do you go about, what measurement tool do you use, or is there follow-ups to these workshops? And I understand there's something taking place next year in November and January or something like that. Tell us.
Okay, so the program goes from November into January. We close in January in Mova Community Center. So we're looking forward to that because we have already started the outreach for there, and so we have communities across Trinidad as well as Tobago. In terms of the monitoring and evaluation, we actually have someone who is specifically there to monitor and evaluate. So as people come in, she asks specific questions about their understanding about. Now the parenting workshop, I should say, focuses specifically on neglect, because neglect has been discovered by the Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago to be the most persistent form of child abuse. So these parenting workshops are centered specifically on neglect, because it is an issue that the Children's Authority, UNICEF, and ICAN, we are attempting to reduce the incidence of. Yeah, so, and at the end of the session, there are also questions. So after we have the conversation, people are now asked questions like, do you feel that you understand more about neglect, about what is abuse?
Right.
Do you feel that you are now empowered because one of the challenges that we face in our society is everybody takes a standoffish approach, that is my business. But one of the mottos of the Children's Authority is that, child protection is everybody's business. And so it is not just about you sitting in your little corner, but, everybody in the extended family and the wider community should be involved, which is one of the old-time values that you mentioned, you spoke about earlier.
Yeah, now we can't seem to get away from.
Yeah.
But just before we close this segment here, in terms of persons who want to attend today, just reiterate the information.
So today we are at the Bell Garden Multipurpose Facility. And I wanted to let people know that we have transport available as well. We start at 5, where you come and you register, and we go until 8. And we have transport available, and we also have an area for children. So if you don't have anyone to look after your children, you can come out and you can bring the children. We'll have someone to look after you as well. Lois Leslie is the person to contact, and we can always share the number, because I don't have her number with me, but we can always share the number and the information for people who need to get it.
Okay, and we actually have I'm hearing we have a representative from the Children's Authority coming in.
Okay.
So we'll get some more details there. But I want to thank you, Dara Healy, of course, the founder of ICAN. And you have a closing remark?
Yes, I just wanted to say, because I don't have the number, but I have our email address. So it's icanconnect1@gmail.com.
Okay.
So you can always email us and let us know if you would like transport to get
All
to
right.
the venue.
Okay, so thank you for being with us this morning and for sharing this information. I mean, parenting, that kind of conversation could go a long way.
I know.
And of course, we encourage those who are available and able to attend the workshop today and continue to monitor what is taking place in terms of getting the resources. All right.